It is a high time we get African people to understand that you don't build a continent or a nation by constantly complaining. One skill that I found out that each and every single adult in Africa have mastered is the skill of complaining and pointing accusing finger to other people because of their situation. Go to Nigeria, go to Cameroon, go to Ghana, go to Congo, go to Burundi. They are all saying the same thing, that the reason why they have not been able to develop their country is because the white man colonized them. But most of these countries got their independence for over 60 years ago. And 60 years later, we seem to have remained in the same spots. Hence, we have find a reason to continually complain and point accusing fingers to the British, France, that those are our problems. But the truth of the matter is, we African people are going to be the ones that will initiate the ideas that will transform Africa. Not the European, not the Asians. Each time you see a Chinese in Africa, he is here for his own economic gain, not to help you. Don't be a fool. Each time you see Americans in Africa, they are here for their own economic gain, not to help you. And don't be a fool to point accusing finger on them because they have taken what their brother sold to them. The survivor of the fittest, Charles Darwin theory. I am not a racist and I can never be a racist. The reason is simple. I believe in monogenesis, that every human being on this planet have their roots to Africa. So being a racist or hating a white man or hating a brown man simply means that I'm hating myself. Instead, I should stood up optically, strategically, and ask some good questions as to why I am on the ground. I should be on the forefront leading the journey. Black people, the oldest people on the planet, they are the eldest. And as it is in families, it is the elderly ones that leads. But hence, white people, brown people have not been able to find you fit for that particular journey. So they have to move on and consider you a subhuman. And you call them racists. As a matter of fact, in 1988, William Botha made a statement that triggered a lot of black people, especially the scholars, to call him a deadly racist. And what he said is that black people cannot rule themselves because they don't have the brain and the mental capacity to govern a society. The question is what he said truth? The answer is, have we proven that what this racist master said is wrong? No, we have not been able to do that. Just take a look at the continent of Africa. We have degenerated into a Hobbesian state of nature where life has become short and brutish. We import guns to kill ourselves. They gave us religion, we fight ourselves because we lack the ability to think. There is something that I see within black people that seems to be simultaneously synonymous each time I'm moving on the street, and that is our people are not walking with their legs. They are walking upside down, their heads on the ground, their legs upward, and they don't know that. And that is why our view of life is distorted. Check what is happening across Africa. Who do you blame? The white man. The white man has not been the president of Nigeria since 1960. He has been a black man. So why do you blame white man for keeping Nigeria to the position it is? It is because you lack the ability to reason. You said it is neo-colonialism. No man has the ability to make use of your brain without your consent. It is because our people are foolish, especially our leaders, that gave the Europeans, the Asians, the temerity to come into Africa and do as they like. Recently, they did the coronation of King Charles, and each videos you see online, when you check the comment section, you will be startled, you will be mystified, you will be bamboozled by the comments that young Africans are making. And that is, return our gold, return our diamond, return this, return that. I am not ignorant of the fact of how those golds and diamonds left Africa. But the question is, if they return those golds, is it going to last even for 1 year? I bet you your clueless political leaders are going to be the ones that will still take those golds and diamonds and sell it off to them. Just as your forefathers sold your people. Now we like to exonerate our forefathers. We only point accusing finger to white people. But it didn't occur to us that white man could not penetrate the interior Africa early. It was our people who went about in the village capturing their children and selling them off to white people. And today, those their children have birthed offsprings that now complain and forget their own fathers did worse than even the masters themselves that bought the slaves. How can we change Africa? The first thing is to begin to devise strategy, come up with ideas and solutions, rather than constantly complaining, whining about what the white man has done and has not done when the world has moved forward. Africa, we talk about religion, politics, and the rest of them. You hardly find the rebels in the field of science. Now thinking of migrating to the space. Black people are still thinking on how to feed their people. That shows you that what William Butler said is almost truth, that we lack the capacity to govern ourselves. Africa has the largest resources in the world, yet Africa is the most destitute continent on this planet Earth. Why? How do you reconcile that to the reality of what is happening around us? Take a look at Singapore. Nigeria have gotten their independence before Singapore, but take a look at where Singapore is today. We are blaming white man this, that. Are we the only people that were colonized? We are not the only people that were colonized. The Chinese were colonized. The Indians, the Singaporeans, all of them were colonized. But they needed to drop that mentality of complaint and fight for the things that are worthy fighting for, to make sure that their nation is good. That is not what an average black man is thinking about. Our leaders cannot build a very good hospital, neither can they build a good school. They send all their children to Ivy League universities, and when they have headache or malaria, they'll flee themselves away to either India, UK, or US. The case of Ekweremadu in Nigeria is a sign that black people have a mental problem. Ekweremadu have been in politics for over 23 to 25 years, and he could not build one sophisticated hospital. Why are we so wicked to ourselves and we continue to blame others? And one of the things that baffles me a lot is that some of the people called scholars, like professors and lecturers in the university, peddle these ideas as well. Because the moment you gain admission, the first thing they mandate you to read is How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodley. And I'm telling every professor, every lecturer that is mandating young people in the university to read this book to stop that. We have to write another book, which is How Africa Underdeveloped and Continue to Underdevelop Africa, and make it a mandatory that every single young man in Africa in a tertiary institution read that book. We can't continue to be stupid for too long. Today they are trying to turn Professor Patrice Lumumba into a performing artist. Every look and cry of Africa, he is being invited to speak on political issues, as though those leaders are going to take what he's saying. They will just sit there listening to him, and inside of them, let him say whatever he wants to say, and when he's done, here we go and we continue our different mentality. Africans, no American, no German, no Chinese is going to come and change Africa for you. You are the ones that will change it for yourself. You need to devise a new strategies on how to educate your people. Get off all these kids in the street, get them into schools, and change the curriculum. Go out in the field, do research, do study, use it to get curriculums on how your children should be educated. Don't use what a white man gave to you. You are not animal, you are a human being. But your behavior seems to say a lot when white people say you are a monkey. I'm a black man. I'm not exonerated from this. I'm part of it. And it is you and me that is going to change this nation. And we must, by any means necessary, do so to make sure that Africa become great again. It doesn't matter how you talk about how black people build Egypt, how they build the pyramid, how they embalm the dead body that lasted for 6,000 years, and building cast stacking stone. All those things holds no water if the present Africans cannot prove to the world that their forefathers really did those things, nobody is going to hear your cry or your rubbish complaint. You better step up. It is something to worry about that each time the issue of Africa is raised in the United Nations, is always how to help Africa. It is never how Africa can help other people. There is no continent on this planet that have received aid like African people. Yet there is nothing that have been done with those aids. It is your political criminals that will empty the treasury account. They will go to American bank, they will go to Britain and bank, they will go to Switzerland and bank. White man did not come here and take the money from your treasury account. It is your people that did so. And we must begin to ask, what is the system that is producing this man? What were their mentality when they were 2 years old, when they were 10 years old, when they were 15, 20, 30, until they became 50s, 60s, 70s? Because those things determine how people think when they grow up. You can't raise a buffon and expect integrity. We must begin to redefine the view we hold about the world and ourselves. We must begin to tell ourselves the truth that the Europeans are not our problem, but we are the problem of ourselves. And the moment we accept that truth and reality, we will quickly rise to power and change the situation in Africa. I remain Kelechi Ogbonna, Captain Africa. See you in the next episode.